For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone.
Thing sucks. In 5, 4, 3.
So we're gonna do it live. Too many reruns over an entire month. This certainly would have disrupted your routine. So I'm hearing from you on Facebook and the many calls that I got over the last month. I really needed that break. So welcome to the 23rd season of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube, and we're continuing to be monitored around the world. It's a new year, but many things have not changed as we say to you, hello around the world, whether you are in the United States, whether you are in Hawaii, the UK, Martinique, Canada, in St. Lucia, the rest of the region. Welcome to another edition of this program where we continue to honestly examine ourselves, examine our country, so that we can arrive at a position whereby we can be satisfied. We're satisfied with what is happening in St. Lucia in terms of stewardship that is being provided by our leaders. And what they do not realize is that their actions and inactions and ineptitude can take their toll on us. And as much as the other talk shows on the island believe that there's need for them to curry favor with the government, in the case of NewsSpin, we will tell it like it is. We'll discuss those issues dispassionately, as honestly as possible, and that is with a view to making a difference for the entire country. Kimani is on. She'll be going through your comments in the chat room, and I know that people are already commenting in the chat room, and people are welcoming us back, and no doubt they will be having a lot to say between now and 2:30 this afternoon. You know, very often you have a one-day sale. This is one such occasion when we will extend the broadcast to 2:30 this afternoon, because I have a guest from 2 o'clock. So we're going up until that time. Hello. I don't know, it's too late to do that, but Happy New Year to you, those of you watching and listening, and Happy New Year to you as well. Kimani would like to wish you all the best for 2024. We want everyone to be healthy. We want everyone to be prosperous. We want everybody to maintain their composure because this year will be a very challenging 2024. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Tim, and many returns to you as well.
What was the break like?
It was amazing, I must say.
To what extent?
To an extent, yes, to an extent.
To what extent?
To what extent? I can't say.
You don't want to divulge?
No.
Yeah. But you know what happens? The rest certainly would come in very, very handy. And it's as if, well, you're unclogged and choked, uncluttered. But things change.
They do.
Within a few weeks. By a month, 2 months later, you start to get tired and jaded. So, what we have to discuss on the program, a lot of things have not changed in St. Lucia since our last broadcast in December of 2023. I'm talking about the perennial problem. It's relentless. It's unremitting. And that is the crime problem that we are experiencing in St. Lucia. This is to the extent that our brand St. Lucia, has taken a severe beating. In days of yore, you say St. Lucia, and automatically, what would happen? It would conjure the image of our two Nobel laureates, Sir Derek Walcott and Sir Arthur Lewis. The image of our pitons. The fact that we are an idyllic country and we are often described as friendly people. Those are the images that once graced St. Lucia. Unfortunately, say St. Lucia, those of you into marketing, you understand this. Those of you who are into branding, those of you in the hospitality sector in particular, who have to fret every now and then, you have a homicide here and there, etc. You understand the damage that has been done to our island. It's still beautiful, but no longer a peaceful country. And national security ministers in many parts of the Caribbean, including Trinidad and Tobago, Fitzgerald Hines, from time to time, when he appears on various television programs, including on TTT television, he would make reference to what is happening in his homeland as far as the headache that they're experiencing with crime. And he would have to make reference to St. Lucia. Now, since when? You would lump Trinidad and Tobago and St. Lucia as far as crime is concerned, or Jamaica and St. Lucia. And I know that the excuses are in abundance because we are not proud of ourselves. We do not want to be an exception as far as certain things are concerned. Because whilst certain politicians were in our position, they did not realize that they had to prepare for certain well-known challenges as well as unforeseen circumstances. What I'm talking about. As far as I'm concerned, and I've said it before, and it's worth repeating, we heard our national security minister, who also has the benefit of being the prime minister and the minister with responsibility for finance, keep making reference to the fact that he is not, or he has never been, a police officer. And his father was. Don't you think that the Prime Minister would have done better as National Security Minister, if his father were alive, because the father would say, Philip, you need to do better. Whether you were a police officer or not, you cannot continue to supply the police with vehicles, with guns and ammunition, and there are certain things that you're not supplying them, and expect on that basis that there'll be a turnaround in as far as the crime problem is concerned. I could imagine him saying that it is something that must be fought on several grounds, on several fronts, and it must be fought aggressively. So John Compton was never a police officer. But you got a sense that criminal elements, although during that period, during his reign, things were not perfect, Things were not perfect. We had our fair share of well-documented serious crimes and homicides and violence and things of that nature. But somehow you got a sense that there was someone who was in charge as far as the security of the state is concerned, to the extent that it would not have exacerbated to the point of no control. And that is the situation that we are in right now, where things are definitely out of control. 7 homicides in an island like St. Lucia, and we are just the 22nd of January, the 22nd day in a month. Let us look at, for example, in his wisdom, someone, I don't think that the Prime Minister did that on his own volition, but someone must have advised the Prime Minister. A certain government minister must have advised the Prime Minister to disband the K9 unit. And he decided to disband it. And this happened in early 2021. And the reasons espoused then, the cost, $40,000, and the fact that you need trained personnel, you need the dogs, you need to house them, you need to feed them, etc. He did not look at the bigger picture. Was it worth the investment? Don't you think that, etc., and other places, if they end up being in the home of someone in some part of St. Lucia, the police officers, not only with their intuition and naked eyes, they would have at their disposal the canines to assist. The Prime Minister decided to disband the unit. And subsequently what happened? He said several things. Made reference to the Attorney General, is looking into this, and now he's making reference to the Police Commissioner, etc. So he's not right now willing to say that he erred, and the Prime Minister made a huge error in disbanding the K9 unit. It is a huge error that he made. And somehow he's not prepared to admit that was an error, when the evidence is proving just that. It was not a situation where the police decided to disband the K9 unit. But now the Prime Minister is saying that he has to speak with the island's police commissioner on this important issue. And I'm sure if the police commissioner was in a position to speak freely, she would say to the St. Lucian public, it's not my fault. If I had anything to do with this, the K9 unit would not have been disbanded in the first place. About a little over a year ago, we heard from then Police Commissioner Milton Daisy, making reference to the K9 unit, and we'll hear from him in just a moment. But those are serious issues. Serious to the extent that as much as we hear from people, don't politicize crime, it's the politicians, and in this case, the Prime Minister, Minister with responsibility for finance and national security, who is making some critical decisions that can determine whether you live or die. So let us take you back to a little over a year ago, when there was this hullabaloo about the disbandment of the K9 unit. And who spoke on this then? We have a report that was filed by Don Nicholas, who was then with DBS Television. We heard from the Prime Minister in that report, and we will also be hearing from then Police Commissioner Milton Daisy.
To the station.
Police Commissioner Milton Daisy informed that the pre-existing K9 unit was instrumental in conducting 47 operations with a 63% success rate that included the confiscation of firearms, drugs, and cash. Over $40,000 was recovered in just one operation, and 9 firearms along with a substantial amount of drugs in another.
At that time, the K9 unit, putting out the cost of it, a K9 unit, and I think it is one of the, I would say, the tools needed, especially now, with everything that's going on, to have in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Actually, the K9s we had were able to detect large sums of cash, drugs, and firearms.
Commissioner Daisy explained that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is awaiting the renewal of the contract to reinstall the K9 unit, something which is not under his purview. Prime Minister Philip Pierre, in response, asserted that his government is considering the renewal but has to be prudent in undertaking this venture, which will cost the government some $40,000 per month.
The agreement was sent to us, but we have to be prudent. We've not signed it. We haven't said we will not sign it. It's under consideration. And that's a fact. It's a very simple situation. We had to make the choice.
The Prime Minister was speaking at the press conference on Thursday, at which he detailed government strategy to tackle crime. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
1 year ago. So what did the Prime Minister say during his cabinet briefing on January the 15th about the K9 unit? This is what he said.
The Commissioner has made a plea for the establishment of the K9 unit. We had some operations, the police had some operations late last year that involved using the K9 unit. We are actively involved in these discussions. But as I said, I mean, this is not as simple. You need trainers, you need this. It's not as, I mean, it may sound like very simple, K9 unit, but it has very many things, surprisingly. Many things you have to go through to get a K9 unit going. But we are working on it, and we'll make an announcement as to when and if we're going to have a K9 unit in St. Lucia. But we continue to seek use of dogs from our friendly neighbors. The French, the Americans assist us when necessary for the use of dogs, but we are considering actively a K9 unit.
You said you have to train officers. Wasn't there one K9 unit before?
Yes, there was, but you know, as most things, you know, and you know, I always tell you, I'm not in a position to opine on police operations, and I insist in that position. I can't opine on police operations. I'm not a police officer. My father was, not one. So in terms of the training that is necessary, I have to go strictly on the advice of the police professionals, commissioner and her staff. What I know is the commissioner has asked for a K9 unit. We're going to have these discussions, and I will tell her the resources that are available if they become available, and for the details on training and the logistics, that'll be up to her. That's her job. She is the commissioner of police. She's a professional who has the responsibility for ensuring that law enforcement happens.
Aren't we reinventing the wheel? Didn't we have a K9 unit before? All of a sudden, the Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, he disclosed then that the K9 unit, which was disbanded in 2021, will be reinstated. And here's a quote attributed to him. I have asked the Attorney General to look into, this time it's not the police commissioner, I have asked the Attorney General to look into returning the dogs to the customs to stem the flow of guns into the country through the barrels. We are going to speak to the owners of the dogs to see if we can return them to the situation, at least if it can stem the influx of guns into barrels. What prompted him to make that statement? It is as a result of a bloody weekend which left at least 2 people dead and over a dozen hospitalized nursing gunshot injuries. I think it's a good time to hear from you at 452-2979. That's 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. We are into the 23rd season of the most monitored talk show in the world, and that is NewsSpin. We go up until 2:30 this afternoon, and we have a special guest at about 2 o'clock. Kimani, the chat room.
In the chat room, someone says, I wonder how much drilling had to be done on the PM's head before he learned 2.5 years on the job, no improvement. Another comment, we had the K9 unit, they came in and scrapped it and are now telling us it's a lot that goes into having a K9 unit. Someone says, nobody asked you to be a police officer. We are asking you, what is your government's policy and action plan to tackle the out-of-control murder rate in St. Lucia? Another comment, we must tackle the problem from the root. Jim, the error was made by the people who voted for this man. Someone says, looks like the killings have left the south and migrated to the north. Thank God I'm out. Another comment, they disbanded the K9 unit because dogs cannot be bribed with jobs, appointments, and money. Someone is asking, has there been any official press release by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force or the minister responsible for crime about the recent killings? Another comment, can a government made up of criminals be successful in the fight against crime? Someone said, people are afraid to share information with the police. Earlier during the Free Summit in the morning on Power 97.9 FM, Police Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte spoke on people not, or rather do trust the police, and they do inform the police of crimes and that kind of stuff.
Well, I have a clip. We'll try to see if we can access that clip. I don't know if we're in a position to access that clip right now, not yet, but we'll play that clip of Sergeant Hippolyte later in the broadcast.
Another comment, Tim, what I realized for the new year, most of the businesses are not giving calendars anymore, and we are paying our 2.5% when we go and shop.
We have our first caller. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Thank you so much for calling the broadcast. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Timothy Poleon.
Hi, good afternoon.
This is your humble servant, Peter Chico, from the Comptroller of Customs.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Tim, I just wanted to make a comment on the K9, the existence or the reinstatement of the K9 unit. During my tenure as Comptroller of Customs, the K9 unit was introduced. We have had quite a few operations on the port doing cargo. However, in September of 2021, just my last few days of being sitting in as Comptroller of Customs, I was invited to a meeting. The current Comptroller of Customs walked into my office. At the time, he was the deputy, and he informed me that we were invited to a meeting with the Attorney General, Mr. Leslie Mondesi, to discuss the K9 unit. So we went across to Mr. Mondesi. We sat down in his office, and he was telling us that the Prime Minister was actually interested in the K9 unit. But the problem was that the K9 unit was expensive. He needed to sustain it. So he didn't want it to find itself in a situation whereby the units, they would be paying monies to maintain the unit. So they wanted the unit to make seizures to sustain itself in terms of rewards and payments. That was said, we discussed it, we agreed, and he asked me what was my plans for all the guns and things that were coming up. We will, that were alleged to be coming in barrels on the port. I told him that I had developed a plan. I prepared a plan. The plan was named Operation Control Band, which is to deal with contraband coming in on the port. And he asked me to submit that to him. I said, okay. I went back to my office and I submitted that plan to the Attorney General. The same day, a couple of days later, I met him at Mega J and I asked him, Counsel, did you get my plan? He said to me, oh, Chico, I have so many things on my desk. I have not seen it. So most likely it's on my desk when I go back to office. I would check for it. I never heard from them. So I was so surprised when I heard that the K9 unit was disbanded, because I know based on what the Attorney General said to me, they wanted to maintain, the Prime Minister was interested in keeping the K9 unit. So I just thought I would have shared that, because I have no idea at what point the Prime Minister or the government decided not to continue the K9 unit. I have not said anything on that previously, but since that is the topic being discussed now, I felt it prudent that I say that.
Okay, so
thanks for your time, Tim.
You too. Thank you so much for calling. Just heard there from former Comptroller of Customs, Mr. Peter Chico. Let's continue with your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. And, of course, the chat room.
In the chat room, someone says, if the UWP government could afford it, why can't the SLP government? Another comment, what is surprising about doing what worked? What makes sourcing outside easier, more economical, or more prudent? So he knows that the influx is from barrels. Someone says we're going backwards instead of moving forward for better. It's sad our country is not doing well at all. Someone said earlier, the most educational factual show, NewsSpin, is back. I'm so excited, even though my woman is nagging that I'm not helping her during the house chores at 12:30. I will not miss NewsSpin and don't want to be disturbed.
What you have to do is to, take up those chores a bit earlier. That's all.
Another comment, we are averaging 1 every 3 days. So if the trend were to continue, it would be 121 by year end. Another comment in the chat room, someone says, how much does Peep wanted to pay for canine dogs or dogs?
I mean, you're not talking about those mongrels that are roaming the streets of the capital. Jeremy Street, Chisel Street, Brazil Street, etc. I'm sure you see them. Okay, you're waiting for your bus and so on. We're talking about dogs that must be properly trained. You're talking about, for example, bloodhound, German Shepherd, Dutch Shepherd, you name it. So those responsibilities, the task will not be performed by a mongrel, or any dog at all, So the Prime Minister should have taken this into consideration. Sometimes in your personal life as well, you determine what you're going to invest in. You really need this, but really, it doesn't make sense. Is it prudent to do that? And you have to weigh your options carefully. And if you take the lives of the people of this country seriously, and if you understand what is at stake, the fact that the problem we are experiencing right now with regard to crime is the use of illegal firearms and how they are entering our country. We want to keep them out of our shores, and you have to do, it's worth the investment.
Right.
I think it's worth it even more than I'd venture to say investing in Carnival and investing in the Jazz Festival. primarily because you're talking about life and death. Who wants to die, really and truly? Who really wants to die? And if the government has imposed a 2.5% health and security levy on the people of this country, and they continue to feel so unsafe. Citizen safety is a real issue in St. Lucia. Whether you're living in Cap Estate, whether you're living in Dennery, in Ancillary, in VA4, in Castries, that is a serious issue. We have a WhatsApp call. Somebody calling beyond the shores of St. Lucia to get this person on the air. Hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, team. Happy New Year to you and Kimani.
Same to you, sir.
Thank you.
Is this Alex?
No, not Alex.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, team. I will start off on the same note that I left last year, because the year may have changed, but nothing really changes in St. Lucia as you would want them to be. Team, we still have the same issues that we were dealing with yesterday. We still have the same Prime Minister coming and give us all kind of excuses with no kind of basically assurance as to how he's gonna take charge of this country, and especially with the rising of crime. Tim, I listened to that press conference, and I must say, Tim, it is not good at all. We can do better than that, St. Lucians. We need to do better than that. We cannot continue with the very same nonsense every year just because that we support yellow or red. You know, it's an embarrassment to listen to the Prime Minister speaking in a press conference and to be uttering such nonsense out of his mouth. Now, Tim, I must talk about the draft that he said he had in his hands. And the Prime Minister, just like one of the reporters in the room, that was very much confused. I was confused myself. Because in listening to the Prime Minister, he's saying to us that he's disassociating himself, with the actual draft. But on the other hand, he's saying to us that the draft is a brilliant idea. So if you disassociating yourself with something, Tim, that is so brilliant, then what does that make you? Does that make you fit for office? I am asking the question because apparently this Prime Minister has been disassociating himself with a lot of great ideas in the country, like the new structure for the hospital, like the HIA development project, which is the airport, you know, and we can go on. Tim, we need to take a stand, and I'm saying it as the first NewsSpin today. I will say it. St. Lucians need to rise up. Your situation can only stay the same if you remain home or you don't do anything constructive to change it. And I will go a little bit of your time again, Tim, just to say about the taxes. We St. Lucians need to understand that the tax dollars that the government are collecting, they're taking it from our salaries because we entrust them to better our lives, better the conditions of our lives. Now, if they continue to take our taxes and we say nothing.
Individual in just a moment, and we'll continue to hear from you at 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Remember, we're going up until 2:30 this afternoon. At 2 o'clock, I have a special guest. Stay with us.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses call.
Payment plans are available for Tooms. Call us in Vidbute at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593 or 285-3329. Or send an email to customersupport@lucelec.com for assistance. Call 457-4433 to get bill balances. Use myaccount.lucelec.com for detailed account information and to make online bill payments using a credit or debit card or online bank account. Customers may also take advantage of SurePay's online or walk-in service. Lucelec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
Celebrate Independence the KFC way from January 17th to February 29th. Grab the Independence box at KFC. Celebrate 45 years of independence as you indulge in 1 sandwich, 5 dipping wings, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 regular fries, and 2 regular drinks, all for only $45. Unbox and savor the taste of freedom with an Independence big box at KFC.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel and shoulder pain, cramps and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Nightmeds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Nightmeds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Can't get a break from all this tax? Head to Automotive Art and get a taxcation. Automotive Art is offering you an ease from VAT and health and safety levy with savings of up to 15% and more. That's right, 15% of all tools, 15% of all accessories, 15% of car detailing, 15% of all rims, 15% of computerized wheel alignment, and 15% and more of savings of up to 30% on some sizes. It's Automotive Art taxation. Visit us at Automotive Art at Vidbute Castries and Latuni VA for today and enjoy a taxation. Offer valid.
It's a live edition of the most monitored talk show in the world. NewsSpin. You've just commenced the 23rd season of the broadcast right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube. We continue the discussion on your calls at 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. 2024 is the biggest election year in history. More than 60 countries representing half the world's population, which is 4 billion people, will go to the polls this year, voting in presidential, legislative, and local elections. Will we have a general election in St. Lucia? Kimani, will St. Lucians go to the polls this year?
I don't
What's
think
the prediction?
so. No, I don't think so, Tim.
Why?
Because, of course, the government wouldn't want to call elections so early on in their tenure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have more in store for St. Lucia. What's the point of going through elections right now?
What they have in store for St. Lucia? The construction of the hospital? Completion of the hospital?
I don't know, Tim.
Tackling the crime problem?
Maybe.
But you said they have a lot in store for
Well,
us in
like-
St. Lucia. Back up your statement. Come on.
Like Prime Minister Pierre said in his...
Don't quote the Prime Minister. Don't quote the Prime
But
Minister.
it's up to him.
Tell me what you think.
What I think?
Based on what he has said.
I think, of course, infrastructure,
Mhm.
the hospital as well, and I think that's about it. I can't recall.
To me, last minute decisions
Mhm.
by most governments do not result in people seeing them in a satisfactory light. Meaning, if, for example, for nearly 3 years, you allowed people to go through the heartache, the headache, the inconvenience of having to maneuver on our roads with those potholes and craters. People don't forget those things just because in the 3rd year of your administration, you decide to improve the condition. Because it has a lasting effect, almost a lasting effect whereby I know what I went through on mornings and on afternoons. I know what I went through with regard to the cost of replacing those parts, the damage to my vehicles, the tires, etc. It seemed like an afterthought. That is my opinion. That's how I feel.
So you're saying...
And somehow things normally don't really get better as administrations go along. That's why I was suggesting very early on that governments getting into office, for example, the United Workers' Party right now, if it wants to form the next government, if it believes it has the capacity to win the next general election, instead of just criticizing this Philip J. Pierre government, it has to come up with concrete plans and prepare for governance. What am I going to do if I get into office? Some of the things that I know that are affecting the people of St. Lucia. Now, there are some unknowns. As you go along, they will emerge. You have the Hamas, you have geopolitical issues happening, and so on. Yes, you have to make the adjustment. But I believe that the government lost a golden opportunity when it won the general election, got into office, and it appeared not to be so clear as to, its plans, some of the decisions that it wanted to take, critical decisions. I think they were just too preoccupied with focusing on the politics, on the Alan Chasney. And up to now, the Prime Minister, in my opinion, is still making that error of making reference to the previous administration and the previous Prime Minister. Move on. We have important issues to deal with, problems that are emerging. And on the horizon, who knows, within the next 2 years, what will be confronting.
So you're saying it's a waste now for the government to attempt...
I'm not saying it's a waste, but I do not believe that
that
alone will determine whether it wins the next general election or not. As far as the roads, the infrastructure, the government has failed the people, and it will appear to be an afterthought. If, for example, you have been ill-treated for the better part of your tenure in the workplace, and all of a sudden, last minute, your manager, your boss, whoever says, Kimani, I realize I'm making some errors, I'll take care of you, etc. You don't feel that you have to be loyal to that individual. because if you get another opportunity, you might have, there's a possibility you might just decide to take it because of what you have gone through over a particular period. And the government continues to make excuse after excuse with regard to the poor state of our roads. Minister in the Finance Ministry, Wayne Girard, I think it was either last week or a week before the cabinet briefing, was making reference to inheriting bad roads under the previous administration. Now, it is an issue. I agree. Government after government has faced the same problem. But when you get into office, you're entering your third year and you're still making reference to the previous administration as far as the poor state of the roads are concerned in this country. All right, let's see if we have a call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon, Timothy.
Good afternoon to you, calling from Canada, sir. How are you?
The friendly neighborhood issues. Good afternoon, Timon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, Tim. Tim, I'm going to have to divert from your topic of choice this morning because the government is doing nothing for us. But I am happy in a sense that the Catholic Church has opened its doors in St. Lucia so that gay people could get married. Isn't that progressive, Tim?
No, that's not what happened.
What happened?
What has happened is they can bless people who are in same-sex unions. So they come to the altar, it could be the priest can pray for you, etc., as an individual or as individuals. But they have not paved the way for same-sex marriage to be sanctioned or to be seen as something that is acceptable by the church. No, that's not what it is.
I think you may be a bit wrong. I think the church
No. The church has not endorsed this at all. What the church is saying, the Pope is saying, I could bless you as a couple. I could pray for you, etc. But I do not, as a church, do not support gay marriage. Or even same-sex unions. We're looking at it from the perspective of the individuals. We will bless you, but not the relationship, not the marriage.
I thought the Catholic Church was doing something progressive, Tim.
No,
so
sir,
I'm going to have to take that back, Tim.
No. But since when you're interested in things relating to the church and God and religion and so on, you're changing.
No, Tim, those are social issues and they have real impacts on the lives of real people, right? So I take an interest in.
All right, understood.
Matters, right?
Understood.
And given the damage the church has done to society, I imagine them doing that is something progressive. But anyways, then, as the previous caller said, I'm going to have to start off again on the same note I left off. Last time I spoke to you, Mrs. Broberg called directly after me to state that whatever bill that was signed by, whatever agreement was signed by our government and what it allows, like, people to, kids to choose what sex. Do you have any more information on that bill?
There's some more agreement. I've not been able to find out if the government of St. Lucia has signed this agreement. I'm still trying to get confirmation from the authorities. But it covers issues relating to human rights and the rights of individuals, and therefore many people are making the link between that and maybe setting as a condition for countries like St. Lucia to receive aid and to enter into trade agreements with the European Union, a condition that they must accept same-sex marriage. But I don't think we have reached that stage there yet in terms of the government making a decision on this.
Well, hopefully Sarah is listening and she can call in and clarify for us a bit more, explain to us a little bit more as to what's going on.
Yeah.
Because these are things we should take real interest in, because we're going to have an impact on the lives of our children and our children's children.
And as much as we claim we're an independent country, we like to boast we're independent. We're not that independent, you know.
Too much independence, Tim. I keep telling you, St. Lucia only have 2 little mountains and a few beaches, Tim. What independence we have, Tim? We have to rely so heavily on foreign aid and foreign countries. What independence?
But be careful how you pronounce the B word there, because it's beaches. Okay. Sid, we have a few what? You have to say we have a few beaches. Be careful.
Beaches. Okay,
Right.
okay, Tim. Okay, Tim. Okay, Tim. I will bear that in mind. But anyways, Tim, how was your vacation? I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you got a lot of rest.
Very good. Well rested. Imagine you're at home at 11 o'clock or 11:30, and it's all of a sudden it's raining, and you say to yourself, under normal circumstances, I would have to leave my home right now. But because I'm on vacation, I could take a nap.
Tim, you know, I'm a bit disappointed in you. Next time, don't take a vacation for so long, okay, my friend?
All right, sir. I'll take that in consideration. Too many people are complaining.
I have been suffering from withdrawals.
NewsSpin group well. Okay. All right, caller.
Anyways, it was a nice chat, Tim, and hopefully you have a great show. And Kimani, you have a great day yourself. And I love the way Kimani does grill. I love the way Kimani grills Philip J. Pierre. I listened to that interview the last time. I know the sound of her voice.
No, it wasn't. No. Sorry, it wasn't Kimani. It wasn't Kimani. I think
it wasn't her.
No, it was Zane Romulus.
Yes.
Yes, Zane Romulus of DBS.
I thought it was Kimani grilling him prior to Zane, because I heard a female's voice in the background.
What she grills is fish.
Is who?
Kimani grills fish.
Oh, I love fish, Kimani.
She does not grill. She has not decided to grill Philip J. Pierre. She grills fish.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll give somebody else an opportunity to say something, Tim.
All right.
We catch up some other time, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. No offense, Kimani. No offense.
None taken, Tim.
452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. Think we have another call via WhatsApp. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm okay. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, caller.
All right, Tim. Two things. Firstly, Tim, the piece of road next to KFC in cul-de-sac. I think something needs to be done about that little portion of the road. I mean, there's construction ongoing, and I understand. However, the road is almost impassable. There are craters all over the place. It hinders the traffic. On an afternoon, it's chaos. In the morning, it's absolute chaos. And it seems like no one is doing anything about that, Tim. And that is a big inconvenience to road users. And I think that there's not enough respect for road users. It's almost like whatever you get, you take. But you have to make sure that your vehicle is up to par with everything, all of the requirements in order to be on the road. But when you're on the road, everything seems to be haphazard on the road.
Yeah.
Secondly, Tim, there was an incident, I believe, in the Badlil, and there's a vehicle. I'm not sure if anybody called about that. A burnt down vehicle. It's on the basically almost in the center of the lane in the Badlil. That vehicle has been sitting there since Thursday, if I'm being terrible. Thursday morning, I think I saw that vehicle there. And this morning, it's Monday morning, going down the road, and that vehicle is still sitting there, a hazard on the road. When I traveled the road on Thursday, Tim, I saw police officers taking photos of that vehicle. I assumed that maybe there's an investigation or something going on. However, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're back on Monday, and that vehicle is still left on the side of the road, well, basically in the middle of the road, and nobody's doing nothing about it. If the owner is not going to remove the vehicle, I think that the state is supposed to get rid of the vehicle, and the owner will cover the cost later on. If we're going to charge the owner with the cost, we do that. But for the sake of motorists, we get it off the road. But it seems that no one cares about anything, and the only time we say something is after something happens. And I think that we need more respect for road users in St. Lucia.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. The dilapidated state of our roads, I think by now, I have reached the conclusion that the government does not believe that it will be made to account for this serious dereliction of duty over the better part of a year now. I mean, the government has been in office for a while now, and it should have taken this into consideration. And it's not a case where we're in an era where the government is not privy to how the people are feeling about certain issues. But on one hand, the government will tell you 2024, the year for infrastructure. And before that, the government will tell you, well, it did not deteriorate between July of 2021 and now. And then on the other hand, the government will say to you, government officials, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Infrastructure and the Prime Minister, that, it's raining and the weather and so just making a lot of excuses. So the government is not serious as far as this problem is concerned. It is not taking your concerns to heart, unfortunately. This thing about pensions and certain governments and institutions to force us to do things for ourselves, for the betterment of our people. The chat room, Kibani, what's happening there?
In the chat room, someone says, "Call everything sweet and nice in our banana republic where we have no more bananas." The PM has appointed a number of lawbreakers to his cabinet and in other influential positions around him. What makes you believe that he will implement any strategy for solutions to crime? The K9 unit is effective. The man is bent on facilitating crime, and we must see that for what it is. The PM is deliberate about everything he does, and this disaster in managing crime is nothing short of his standard. Someone says, "We need an election. St. Lucians need to stand up. Enough is enough." The SLP government is more interested in jazz and carnival, not the hospital and roads. Tim, the blessing is the first step. Don't let them fool you. A YouTube comment, someone says, "The previous commissioner said that all samples in the Kimberly De Leon murder was on island. Now this present commissioner is saying that they were awaiting samples. What's going on?" Another comment, someone says, "Why would the government not prioritize reducing crime by using the K9 unit to mitigate against this crime scourge? Can the government say what is the value they have placed on a life?"
We have a call via WhatsApp. Hello, good afternoon. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
Hello, buddy guy with one more.
Oui.
Good afternoon.
Call just vini my point. Good afternoon.
How are you guys?
I am okay.
How was the vacation?
Very good, caller.
Okay, Kimani, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Timothy, if I'll answer my end and then you'll answer your end. If Philip J. Pierre give you a transparent glass of water, are you drinking it?
If he gives me a what?
A transparent glass of water, are you drinking it?
Yes, I would. You wouldn't?
Using his definition of transparent?
I would.
Drink that, sir? I wouldn't drink that.
Why wouldn't you?
If I hold him to his definition of transparent and he tell me he gives me a transparent glass of water, mahabwesa.
Okay. Sassy who?
Because no light not passing for that. and to go with the water, you know what we need? We need a good mug. And they don't have no mug with Kimani alone, not?
No, not yet. We're working on that.
Not yet. Tim?
Okay,
not yet. So we need some NewsSpin mugs with Kimani on it. We're working on that, okay?
Tipofi, I like you, but I'd like not to wake up in the morning and drink a glass of tea, seeing you on my cup first thing in the morning. Kimani?
That's not the first time I've heard that.
If it's Kimani, I turn in British. I drink in tea for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay. So thank you for that idea. It's coming up.
I could remember when that thing about the dogs was like when about a year ago. I could remember where I was, when I called, because I believe it was it Richard Frederick was the one that was stressing on either $40 million a month or something.
$40,000.
$40,000 a month, and he was stretching and I'm saying to myself, why don't he stretch on them monies when they go millions of dollars? The CJ was supposed to cost, was it like 1 million or something to prepare, and then it 2 million more and 3 million cost to, why he doesn't stress on $2 million more? And that was around not too long after they had that container of drugs, which is still under investigation. Remember, that container of drugs is just up in the air. A few weeks after that container of drugs, they got a guy with his car driving, and he had drugs on it, and in bodily all, I believe in bodily all now. But then, and I made the point that the reason why they don't want the dogs is because the dogs cannot distinguish between bossman drugs and little boss drugs. When you have a dog, the dog cannot distinguish who's the boss, whose drugs it's supposed to bust, and whose drugs it cannot bust. It's not allowed to bust. So you know what? We will just scrap the whole dog thing. That's just a theory. That's a theory. I'm not accusing nobody. So your show is safe. And then right after that, remember the commissioner came and told you about how many guns how many guns those dogs sniff out, and the way they were ready to leave a compound, and then the dogs came and they say, okay, the dogs reach already, just let them make a sniff. Let them pass. And they got more guns in a place they just finished search. And I told you, remember I told you, what is the value of the lives those illegal weapons would have taken?
Well, that's a question you could pose to the Prime Minister.
No, but the Prime Minister not a police. He's just the Minister of Security. He's not a police. The Minister of Security don't have nothing to do with security. Unless you tourists that go in mass, and that's a different thing. Then you'll get some protection. Although one of the murders were in Masha, so then I don't know. Honestly, nowhere not safe. Nowhere is safe. But for some reason, every time New Year's come around, I feel like, okay, New Year, that will. And then it's like I come to the realization, it's just something we say with our mouths. What crime actually stopped as a New Year? We averaging 1 every 3 days, according to a guy. 1 every 3 days. Because we had 7 and it's only the 22nd.
Yeah.
And usually, like it's just ridiculous. At this stage, we in a state where I'm hearing people dying, and it's like I hear people dying, and I continue about my business. I tell my wife another one.
You see, I mean, several decades ago, caller, during the festive season, you'd hear of increasing criminal activity on the island, and 1 or 2 homicides would occur, and a couple of people would be injured, and there'll be some robberies taking place here and there. But now there isn't a season for that kind of mayhem in our country. There isn't a season for it anymore.
Now it was during the festive season. Everybody know one of the hardest months to go through is January, because everybody broke from the holidays. Now if it escalates in January when everybody broke, then you know the festive season, a new law has been established. I wouldn't say we set a bar higher. It's a new law has been established. So it's a really sad thing. And then it's just jokes. Every time every time Philip J. Pierre talks, to me it comes across like a comedian speaking. There is no dire urgency within his voice. I'm never feeling this person said that and they're going to work on it. It's always like more confused. You're not going to interfere with her. You have more power than any police on the island for you to open your mouth as a prime minister and say you're not a police. People don't understand the prime minister makes life and death decisions on a daily basis, but he doesn't seem to know that himself. I've never heard him, and he sounds serious, always a joke. I'm not talking about the way he speaks and whatever. That too, I didn't say anything about the way he speaks, because to me, the way you speak shouldn't really matter. But then, if somebody is perceived as 100% smart, but the ability to communicate only getting that across. Then if I perceive you as 100% smart and you own your ability to communicate is at 20%, all I can do is percent level smart. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's that situation, but I hoping for some reason, not based on any trends that has been set, that crime will reduce.
Well, it will not
That's the
happen.
hope.
It will not happen on its own.
Timothy, at this stage is like at this stage you praying for it to happen on its own, because who else doing anything? Or the people in power, that we still have these individuals in high places that are corrupt. The prime ministers have admitted. So it's like you say it on its own. At this stage we have to pray for a miracle. I feel like there is nothing we can do at this stage.
All right.
People don't understand. It's ridiculous, but anyway.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your contribution. Still to come, what say you? Because the Prime Minister says that some sections of the box will be utilized. One individual has a point of view, and he will be sharing it with us in just a moment as you continue to watch and listen to the most monitored talk show in the world. That's NewsSpin.
Beauty, couture, elegance, glamour. Why not start where fashion begins and be the envy of the ball with high fashion luxury fabrics from Couturiers Fabric Store. Visit us on the corner of Manuel and Miku Street or call us on 1758-720-6777. Couturiers, so in style.
There is only one option when they arrive. Our services will make the dead look alive. With Bouteille and Beaufort accessibility. Remember, we have the only private cemetery. No one can match our prices from coffins to corsage. Personalized service you get when Lazarus takes charge. Quality service, no package to make your wallet bleed. Lazarus is your true friend in your time of need.
Lucilex remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, or 285-3329. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilex.com for assistance. Call 457-4433 to get bill balances. Use myaccount.lucilex.com for detailed account information and to make online bill payments using a credit or debit card or online bank account. Customers may also take advantage of SurePay's online or walk-in service. Lucilex encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Celebrate Independence the KFC way from January 17th to February 29th. Grab the Independence box at KFC. Celebrate 45 years of independence as you indulge in 1 sandwich, 5 dipping wings, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 regular fries, and 2 regular drinks, all for only $45. Unbox and savor the taste of freedom with an Independence big box at KFC.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel and shoulder pain, cramps and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Le gouvernement di mani gosse building. Modern building sala pour l'hôpital rasta. Et dit fight li dong. Et now you got servi de chordin, Et il a still aller puis c'est petit boîte là. Regarde, c'est vieux l'hôpital là, on va retirer ça, on va sauter, on va mettre fait ça rasta. Et Philippe JP veut dire c'est like a house no. Philippe JP solve your pride, my brother. You go in the box already, just complete the box and you is a big man, Philippe JP. Stop acting like a little boy rasta. You're a big man. You understand? You're running our country, Rasta. You ain't 2 months to say, well, you sorry or you made a mistake. Come on, man. Sorry your pride, Philip JP, man. And tell Solutions, Rasta. You see the box? We will just complete the box, man, because that is the best option for Solutions, man. Passe ti bagay sa la. A wall la ni pool boy. Gaza, nou pa koka pool boy vieux l'hôpital sa la. A wall la. A 2 block ni pool boy, Rasta. C'est là, you can serve vieux building ça là, you can mettre air conditioner dans ça, et you can climatiser ça pour le bois sortir de bloc, venir des patients si rasta. You can voir hôtel avec l'hôpital ça là, Philippe JP administration il dit you can ouvrir vieux l'hôpital ça. Quand il était caca buit, it is of the box. Ou c'est plus jackass man Philippe JP. Si box n'a pas bon, il pas ça faire l'hôpital ban nous. Now can serve tout petit in the box. Ou c'est Jack in the box, man, Philippe JP. Jack in the box. Gaza, my bad Philippe JP and no nef. Ouais. Your new name, Philippe JP, is Jack in the box. Because you play for jackass before the election and tell us the box not good. And now you take 2 pieces in the box.
And that is Appa for you on his live on Facebook recently speaking about the government's decision finally to utilize 2 buildings that linked to the new hospital that was constructed by the previous administration as being described as the box. Let's continue with your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Kimani, the comments in the chat room.
In the chat room, someone says, I say each year have jazz or carnival and the money is going towards them that year. Use it to pay for the K9 unit. Another comment that government needs to put our priorities right and straight. Someone says, I hope someone would calculate the cost of the productive hours being lost on our roads because of their condition. Can someone explain why roads that were built by the master builder last year are already in a state of disrepair? Isn't that the same master builder contracted to finish the multiple little buildings as a hospital, who they claimed did an excellent job with Dominica's hospital? Another comment, when it comes to St. Lucia's roads, you need a PhD pothole defense to drive on them. Let's see, the money for consultants is more important than the K9 unit. Someone says, any dog can be trained. It's just that some are more adaptive due to the temperament of the breed. PJP said his father was a police officer, not him, so why should we expect him to know anything about canine dogs?
WhatsApp message. What the caller did not say is that the burnt vehicle is right after a blind corner. The 40-foot trailers now have to close the corner to avoid it, putting the lives of oncoming drivers at risk.
You're right, because last night we almost hit it when we were coming up from Castries.
Wow.
It is a danger. Another comment in the chat room. Well, Tim, I'm very surprised to see in Cuba last year that their canine unit comprised of mongrels, which they trained. Maybe they're on to something. That's it in the chat room, Tim.
All right, thank you so much. 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let's see there. Good day, Tim. My husband missed you very much for the past days. Tim asked Emma Hippolyte what happened to the sugar. Yeah, there's a serious shortage of sugar on the island, and that's over the last few weeks. But we've received an assurance, I think, by the Director of Consumer Affairs that they'll be getting a shipment sometime this week. And let me see if I have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, Tim, welcome back. The question, is there any update on the woman police officer they arrested last year with the firearms in barrels in the south? What about a container of drugs that were found on the premises of a business establishment? Tim, as soon as that container was discovered by the dogs, boom, they banned them. More drugs, more guns entering. And another WhatsApp message as we await your calls once again at 452-2979 and 716-2026 for WhatsApp calls and messages. Somebody says, Tim, just because of the crime and potholes, I'm voting UWP. I'm not studying the lack of jobs, period. And let's see if we have some more. Somebody says there, Tim and Kimani, good afternoon. Please find out how much a homicide cost the family, and the government then compare the difference between that and the cost to maintain the canine unit. All I can say is the Prime Minister does not care for the people, and the money is not government's own. Rather, the money belongs to us, the taxpayers. And another one says, a WhatsApp message, I have 2 mongrels to start. And we have some more messages coming in. Tim, you remember the statement, we will form a human chain when they come and demolish the court building. Tim, I'm asking why there isn't drilling equipment testing the soil around the old courthouse building. We are not stupid. All right, we have a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes.
Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome, sir. Good afternoon to
you. Happy New Year to you. I'm hoping that you enjoyed your vacation, your time off.
I did.
I want to call today to make a small tribute to an avid listener of your show. I know he would have been tuned in this morning. Sometimes I'm at his office and the two of us are listening to your show and having a chit chat. That is Mr. Cliff Fletcher, the managing director of Davis, who sadly passed away this spring. So I will not speak on any other issue. I will just take the opportunity to just make that small pleading on his behalf that we just remember him. And of course, still he was a very avid listener of your show.
Okay.
Thank you for the time.
All right, thank you so much. So once again, the extending condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Keith Fletcher, as you heard from this caller who has passed away. And condolences to all the people right now who are grieving due to the loss of a loved one. In just a moment, once again, I'll be having a special guest, so the broadcast is extended. We go up until 2:30 this afternoon, so please stand by for that. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Somebody says they welcome back. I once had a conversation with a Vincentian national who revealed to me that he was part of a ring which sends guns to St. Lucia in parts. That's in conflicts boxes. Let's see if we have some more messages. Somebody says there, Tim, I'm calling for the resignation of the Prime Minister and the Police Commissioner. Okay, somebody says there. Okay, all right. Can't go through this one. Another one. Somebody says, honest question to Philip J. Pierre. If the dogs were not politically disbanded, how many guns would they have recovered? And how many of those same guns which might have been retrieved were used in the killings happening almost every day? And Tim, talking about investing, $40,000 for a year is roughly $500,000 for the K9 unit, compared to a $10 million investment in jazz and carnival. We concerned more about Bum Bum Wall than we are about fighting crime. Let's try to go through as many of your contributions as possible. Unfortunately, 6 people didn't and couldn't hear your greetings because they are dead. You're talking about 7 people now. Okay. Another WhatsApp message. Let's see if you can access this one. Somebody says there. Okay, don't read this one. We have to be extremely careful. Okay, I think that will do it as far as our WhatsApp messages. Let's see if we can get a call, and then we'll be having another look at the comments in the chat room. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi.
Happy New Year to you and Miss Kimani.
Same to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I hope you had a wonderful New Year.
It was
We have a
great.
lot to discuss.
Clearly.
Tim, I want to speak of the crimes and the Prime Minister. Tim, the Prime Minister, every time he comes to a forum or conference, I would say a press conference, first thing he would say is that his father was the policeman and he is not a policeman. Then he would go as far as saying he doesn't want to interfere or he doesn't interfere in the police work. You know, a whole set of gibberish. Timothy, this man they call Philip Pierre, when he first came into office, he went into a courthouse with one of his parliamentary members, elected members. And he said he went there to see that the court, well, help me out, please.
That justice was done.
That justice was done. When this man took up his portfolio, Timothy, it's always the Prime Minister that is Homeland Security, right? Or something like that.
National
They're in
security.
charge of national security, right?
Yeah.
Tim, Philip Pierre's first thing he attacked was the security of the country. We can all remember that. First thing he did, he went after the K9 units, Tim. He dismantled that. He dismantled what the former government put in place to protect the lives of the people. Remember the border control. The man went in and he took off all these things. But what I want to ask Philip Pierre, was it the police commissioner who cut off this program? Because since he's saying he is not a policeman, I want to know if it was the police commissioner who stopped all these programs. Or was it the Prime Minister who stopped it? That's a question for him to answer. Because every minute he's like, I'm not a policeman. My father was a policeman. Who stopped the programs that was instilled for the people of this country by the former administration? Who was the people who stopped it? Or who was the person who stopped it? It couldn't have been the Royal St. Lucia Police Force who took a decision like that on their own. It had to be the Prime Minister and his ministers, his parliamentarians, who wrote or signed a bill to say discontinue. And we saw it on the news. He self came and he said it. It wasn't the police commissioner who did it, Timothy. Who that man think he's fooling, Tim? Who is he fooling?
Okay, caller, you have 30 seconds within which to conclude your broadcast, your contribution.
Okay, Tim.
Go ahead.
So Philip Pierre now, I am letting him know that St. Lucians are not that stupid and that daft. He is the one interfering with the works of policemen and the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. When Mr. Chasney was there, Tim, we saw what Mr. Chasney did to assist the police force and to fight the crime. He brought in the forensic, he opened the lab, he did the border control, he put the machines that had customs, he brought in the canine unit. What has Philip Pierre done for the people of St. Lucia to fight that crime thing that is taking place in the country?
Okay, caller.
What has he done?
Thank you so much. Don't forget, we go up until 2:30 this afternoon, this special edition of NewsSpin. I have a special guest who is already in studio. Kimani, what is in the chat room?
Someone says, no, the money gone, no sugar for Lucians. Another comment, I need someone to investigate if this government is paying for cheaper materials to work on the roads, because I can't understand why a newly paved road would need repairs after 2 weeks. Someone says, but UWP demolished 2 of the previous buildings, so obviously they're going to need somewhere to house those services. SMH with y'all UWPs. That is it.
All right, thank you so much. Some WhatsApp messages. Somebody says there, Tim, so many shootings, like we have several gun stores. We need to get one just for show. And another one, somebody says, please ask Flo what is happening with the internet in Soufrière. Since Wednesday, there is no service in Palmist, that is in Soufrière. Another WhatsApp message, not a political view, but to be fair, the Ministry of Tourism job is to market the country, which they are doing. They have a budget for this. That's the department. If the National Security Ministry, Infrastructure and Health Ministries don't put resources and allocate the budget for their ministries to battle their troubled areas, the Ministry of Tourism cannot be blamed. Simple. It means those ministers or whomever is in charge of those other ministries, they are not effectively carrying out their duties. This is a special edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9. We are also on YouTube. We go up until 2:30. I have a special guest. Stay with us.
There is only one option.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Lucilec's remote options are available to serve you every weekday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. Call or send a WhatsApp message to 285-6796, 285-7859, 285-3593, or 285-3329. Or send an email to customersupport@lucilec.com for assistance. Call 457-4433 to get bill balances. Use myaccount.lucilec.com for detailed account information and to make online bill payments using a credit or debit card or online bank account. Customers may also take advantage of SurePay's online or walk-in service. Lucilec encourages you to use the available options for doing business with us remotely.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Celebrate independence the KFC way. From January 17th to February 29th, grab the Independence Box at KFC. Celebrate 45 years of independence as you indulge in 1 sandwich, 5 dipping wings, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 regular fries, and 2 regular drinks, all for only $45. Unbox and savor the taste of freedom with an Independence Big Box at KFC.
In these modern times, the field of medicine has become so advanced that no one has to suffer any longer before they can be seen by a specialist doctor. La Clinique de Corps is proud to be the only healthcare provider in St. Lucia to offer the best and most experienced specialist doctors who are capable to first correctly diagnose and then successfully treat health conditions such as chronic back pain, spinal injury, sciatica, numbness, lupus, arthritis, joint pain, facial nerve pain, knee, heel, and shoulder pain, cramps, and carpal tunnel syndrome. Also available at La Clinique de Corps, complete nerve tests to detect nerve injury or muscle disease. All health insurances are accepted at La Clinique de Corps. So walk again pain-free with La Clinique de Corps. To book an appointment, please call 451-6559 or WhatsApp 721-9950.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miko Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
This is an extended edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube. We go up until about 2:30 this afternoon. I have a special guest in studio. He is making, I think, his second appearance on the program. His name is Elwin St. Rose, formerly served as a chaplain officer in the U.S. Air Force from 2001 to 2021. Mr. St. Rose, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much. Happy to be with you.
Thank you so much for making an appearance yet again.
Sure.
I heard that somehow the last time you appeared on this broadcast, after that you have attained certain things academically?
Yes, I actually have.
Attained certain qualifications.
Qualifications, yes. Last month I graduated from the University of Central Florida, went back to school after a period of work, and I earned 2 master's degrees, one in public administration / government studies, and the other one is in criminal justice.
So that gives me the opportunity to focus on the island's crime problem.
Yes.
One gets the impression that we are just lost as a people, as a country, as government, etc., because we cannot bring this under some level of control. In any environment, you do not expect that there will be zero crime. But clearly something is wrong when you have already registered 7 homicides for the month of January, and we still have another 9 more days left in that month.
Yeah, that's like a homicide every 3 days. An island nation like St. Lucia cannot afford to have that. The notion that we are lost is an idea of helplessness and hopelessness. Some people look at us, and when I say us, political leadership, ecclesiological leadership, churches, communities, business sector, and they say, well, nobody can do anything. I think somebody said not too long ago that there are 2 ex-prime ministers in the present government and a current prime minister, so there are basically 3 men who should have great wisdom, having served as prime ministers, and nothing is happening to the crime situation. My take on it is different. I don't think we lost, and I don't think we are incapable of bringing this under some kind of control. I think we can. But I think it takes work. It takes intentionality. You have to be deliberate, and you have to bring your stakeholders to bear. Choose individuals to represent the communities. Listen to the people. The people have solutions. They have ideas. Every idea may not work, but they have ideas. So it depends on how government wishes to engage it. Government cannot stop a criminal from going down the street to kill somebody. But government can put a lamp on the post so that there will be light in the area. Government can put up cameras so we know who is committing the crimes. Government can have informants. So while government is not watching, people can tell government who is committing the crimes. There are so many things we can do. My position is that in St. Lucia, we have chosen to not do anything. We are almost leaving the intervention to the criminals. When they want to take a break, they take a break and they come back on. They take a break, they come back on. But it's not because of what we, the people, we, the government, are doing. We are not active enough. We are kind of passive in the fight against crime, and that's not going to work. We're just going to be getting more homicides, more criminal activity, and more individuals getting involved in it because there would be no reason to not be involved in it because nothing happens when you commit your crimes.
How do you react to the Prime Minister saying on several occasions, which is a fact, that he is not a police officer? His father was a police officer. What do you make of that statement?
That's incoherent. That's pretty ridiculous. He doesn't have to be a police officer. He's the Prime Minister. When he speaks, the nation listens. He has more authority than a police officer. I don't care about his father, what his father did. His father is not managing this country. He is. And the idea that I'm not a police officer, that's not an answer that would take the place of your responsibility. You are the Prime Minister. You have a cabinet of ministers. You have advisors. And then you have an entire police force at your disposal. The idea that you were not a police officer is not material to the discussion. You have to find ways, talk to people, talk to stakeholders, involve people in the conversation of how do we intervene and how do we effectively have an approach to fight crime.
We don't have a canine unit.
Okay.
Your reaction to this? Because there was a canine unit, and I think at the center of the issue would have been the cost involved in financing the unit, $40,000
a year,
and a month.
A month, okay.
And the Prime Minister saying at the time, the authorities were saying that they could not have afforded it, and they would be, revisiting whether to continue to have the canine unit, to make other arrangements and so on. But over a year now, since we do not have a canine unit, and we have to borrow dogs from other countries.
What I know about canine units is that they are very effective in fighting crimes and helping capture criminals. $40,000 a month, $480,000 a year, that's not too much money to invest in the protection of your citizens. We find money to do a lot of things that are not as important, so we should be able to find $500,000 a year if the unit is going to help us fight crime. And I know in many other countries, every developed country you go to around the world, whether it is Germany, England, France, America, Canada, you see canine units all over the place. Police departments are using canine units as part of their strategy to fighting crimes. So if it works, if it can help, why not? $500,000, $480,000? We don't have that to effectively put forward an approach to fight crimes. We need to get it. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why do you think we find ourselves in that predicament as far as perennially dealing with just about the same problems, in particular the crime scourge that we are experiencing right now, and the fact that we know that illegal firearms and ammunition are entering our borders? Are we bereft of answers to that particular problem? Because the excuses being made by prime ministers and national security ministers, whether it is from Dominica, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and now St. Lucia, is that the crime problem is not unique to any one of those territories. And somehow, something has caused this to take root, to take shape, simultaneously in most of those Caribbean countries. So is it a case where we just cannot do anything about it, or we're just not sufficiently creative, we're not anxiously looking forward to tackling that problem?
I agree with you. I don't think we are active enough. Listen, crime is human behavior. So human beings will behave. Some of that behavior will be criminal. The criminal-minded person is criminally minded. You cannot stop them from being criminally minded. You and I will walk down the road and somebody's purse will not be attractive to us. For somebody else who is criminally minded, it will be. So they want to grab and snatch that purse and take off with it. But if they know they are going to be caught, and if they know they're going to body lay when they are caught, and if they know justice will be swift, they will think twice before they do it. The idea that St. Lucia has so many guns, and illegal guns and ammunition coming into the island. Where is it coming from? The government, whichever government, has to know where it's coming from. And we have to have processes in place to stop the process. So if guns are coming from Martinique, and I don't want to pick on Martinique, but that's our sister island up the street. If guns are coming from Martinique, and we know they are coming into VG, then we have to develop an approach that would stop that process from getting a boatload of guns being dropped at VG. St. Lucia is 238 square miles. We are a tiny island state. And if we cooperate and collaborate with other Caribbean islands, we can have an approach. The idea that every island wants to do its own thing. Look at the proximity between St. Lucia and St. Vincent. I worked in St. Vincent years ago, and on a good day you can see St. Lucia clearly. We can see St. Lucia, see Martinique clearly. Why don't we have integration? Why don't we have collaboration? Why don't we try to fight this thing together? The crime scourge is an issue in this place. And if we don't pay attention to it, it's going to affect us down the road in all other sectors of St. Lucian life.
If you were National Security Minister, from day one, what would you do to tackle crime?
That's a great question, and it's so significant. I don't know we have enough time to answer it, but you asked for day one. If I were National Security Minister, on day one of being in office, I would call stakeholders into a meeting. I would call the police leadership. I would call the business leadership. I would speak to former government security officers or Homeland Security officers. I would create a space where we can get ideas. We can find out what's the problem. Why is it the criminals are having their way? We would answer that question. Then we would do a soul searching. What is it we are doing, and is it good? And what is it we are not doing, and is it good? And then we will explore that. And then after we have done that initial exploration, we begin to intervene. Mr. Poleon, we need some cameras in this country, electronic surveillance. We need to have a system. Look at the U.S., and I don't want to compare St. Lucia with the U.S., but in the U.S., the way they fight crime, sometimes you hear there was a cold case that was a crime that was committed 20 years ago, and all of a sudden it's solved. It didn't solve because the police solve it on day one, but they have processes in place where they can get information. They don't give up on a crime when it happens. It can go to a cold case file, but it is still there. They're looking at it and they are trying to get all the information they can on it. We need surveillance, electronic surveillance. We need informants. We need an effective police force. We need to empower the police, give them what they need to have in order to fight crime, and the judiciary has to execute justice. It's a multi-pronged thing that we have to do in order to get to that goal that we want to get to, crime prevention and crime solution. And we can do it.
Let's see if we could get at least 2 or 3 more calls on the program for my guest during this segment, Mr. Elwin St. Rose. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Once again, 716-2026. The last time I spoke with you, I think you admitted that you have ambitions to contest general elections in St. Lucia. Are you looking at the next poll, which is constitutionally due in 2026?
Here's what I'll say for now. I am interested in helping St. Lucia in whichever way I can. St. Lucia is my home. I have roamed the world in search of life, but could it be that life is home? And I have desires to do whatever it is I can do to help St. Lucia. If that is elected office, then sure, I would be willing to do that to help St. Lucia. That's all I want to do. I'm not looking for a job. I'm not looking for a job. I want to help St. Lucia. I think my years of exposure in many places around the world have allowed me to have an idea of some things that we can do in order to help St. Lucia and advance it forward.
We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is an extended edition of NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon, Elway. That's Gog.
Oh, good afternoon, man. How you doing?
I'm good. My answer to the question, what Timothy said about the crime rate, about the effectiveness of the police. If we have to have an effective police force, there are too many of the police officers that are raised in broken homes. They were abused and they joined the force. You understand? They joined the force, and this element is right there in the mind. That is why when they arrest somebody, they kicking the person, they doing all kinds of things, because these are what they raised into the crime. For us to have an effective policeman, we have to have genuine police officers, not the young men that raised in ghettos and was abused and you know, that is the problem we have with the police force. A lot of those young men that's in the force now, they are there because they cannot get any other jobs to do, and they join the police force. And when those guys was raised in a broken home, no father in a home, nobody know to guide them. Now they are in the force, they feel they have the power, they feel they can do anything, they kicking you, they do all sorts of things.
Sure.
Okay, caller. Thank you so much. Earlier on you said that you'd love to serve in any capacity. Do you think that there sufficient attention has been given to the resources that we have at our disposal beyond the shores of St. Lucia?
Oh, absolutely.
In the diaspora?
Absolutely not. We are not. We run to New York every now and then. I mean, I don't know where else we go. We go to London, maybe Toronto. And we meet we caucus with St. Lucians. But I don't know of any serious effort we are making to recruit. I mean, listen, there are so many St. Lucians living overseas who are well educated, well qualified, who can come based on their experience and make a significant contribution. And I don't know there is any effort on the part of government to recruit us.
Why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, because Mr. Poleon, in places like St. Lucia, which is my home, we are laissez-faire. It doesn't matter. We're going to go in there for 5 years and we'll do everything we can to win another election. Sometimes I get the impression that the commitment is not there to advance St. Lucia, that it's more for self than for the nation. If you are going to serve in public office, you have to have a commitment to service. It's about the nation. It's not about you. It's not about how much money I can make if I'm a minister for 5 years, what I can get in kickbacks or whatever. It's what can I do to help our young people to stop the scourge of crime, at least to reduce it, to help the nation go forward, to create a sense of patriotic pride in our people, that we don't need to have a lot of money, but we can be clean. You understand? So I don't know. I just think we are passive about a lot of things, to include the idea that we have all that resources in the diaspora and we are not making any effort to recruit from there.
Somebody sent me a WhatsApp message. It reads, there are solutions who think that one who lives and live in the diaspora cannot give advice because they do not feel what St. Lucians feel. What would your guest say to that?
We are St. Lucians first. I mean, I went to America. America has been extravagantly good to me, but I'm a St. Lucian. You hear how I speak after all these decades? I'm a St. Lucian, and we do have advice. We are exposed to a lot of things. I mean, I always hear about we don't have a lot of money. Well, guess what? There are lots of things we can do without a lot of money. to include what I just mentioned just now, national pride. So we could advise. I mean, we don't have to be beaten to know that if somebody is beaten, they probably will feel some pain. I mean, we live in the diaspora, but we are St. Lucians. We are committed to St. Lucians. We have relatives there. We support them. We help them. We help St. Lucia from the diaspora.
Somebody says there, please ask your guest, why isn't he helping now?
I am helping right now because I'm saying that I am willing to help right now. I am here. I have been on this show. I've been on Newsmaker Live. Like I said the last time I was there, I made an appointment to see the Prime Minister the current Prime Minister months before I came to St. Lucia. And then I came to St. Lucia and I was never able to see him. This is not as easy as people think. The idea that because you have some skills and you have some talent, you can help, that you will just jump in to help. You have to be brought in to help. So yes, I'm willing to help right now as we speak.
Final comments from you, Mr. Sidros?
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you again today. I always look forward to these times when we can speak and let people hear what we are thinking about. Like I said, I'm committed to helping St. Lucia in whatever way I can. Whatever that means, that will be defined down the road. But for now, I am committed to helping St. Lucia. I think I have the experience. I think I have paid the price through the academic process to have some ideas that I think can help and advance St. Lucia, and I want to do that.
He served as a chaplain in the U.S. Air Force between 2001 and 2021. A St. Lucian who lives now in the United States. His name is Elwin St. Rose. Thank you so much for being my guest on this afternoon's NewsSpin program.
You are very welcome, Mr. Poleon. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And of course, it was an absolute pleasure to be back to continue the tradition of hosting this broadcast. It's the 23rd season of NewsSpin. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon, same time, 12:30, with another edition of the program. And this time we go up until 2 o'clock. My name is Timothy Poleon. Have yourself a safe and enjoyable Monday. Goodbye.